A lot of times the hardest part about After Effects isn't the animation or the compositing or even trying to write out some jank-ass expressions. A lot of times the hardest part is just finding the motivation to open the software. So I thought, what if I had a deadline for myself for some added motivation? What if I put myself on a timer for 1 hour to finish an entire project inside of After Effects? And well, that's exactly what this is. Since I only had 1 hour to complete this, I had to keep the project idea fairly simple, so I had to have the whole scene be silhouette based and have the animation be very subtle by having the characters move only slightly as you would see in an animated storybook. After I masked out each of the characters, I started compositing the scene by adding in the ground and some trees. I later realized that the trees made the characters hard to see, so I had to scale them up so the characters would be more noticeable. By the way, if you're wondering, what these images are supposed to be of, I was trying to make an animation based off of the TV show Stranger Things, so if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend it. Season 1, probably some of the best television out there. I finished up the scene by adding in the sky and the moon, and I think around this point, I must have forgot I was on a timer because I spent about 15 minutes just trying to get the shading right on those. Then I tried to add a light to one of the bikes, and this was honestly the low point of the project for me because I realized I didn't know how to make a gradient into opacity, so I was basically stuck. And then to make matters worse, I looked at the clock and saw I only had about 15 minutes left when I wasn't even halfway done with the project. I honestly thought about just giving up at this point, but then I realized that the point of the challenge wasn't to make a masterpiece within the hour, it was just to get a project started and off the ground. So I hopped back into it, and in classic After Effects fashion, started looking for a workaround for the problem. And that's when I realized that if I just added a mask with a feather on top of the shape, then I can make it fade into opacity. So after I got that done, I was ready to make the upside down, which conveniently in the show is just a mirrored version of the real world. So I could just place the same images and save a lot of time. Then finally I was ready to aim at the camera, but the problem was that I only had about 5 minutes left at this point, which was an issue considering that animating the camera is debatably the most important part of this. So I did what I could with the time left, and this was the final result. Yikes, so it wasn't great, and let's be honest, it wasn't even good. But that was the point of the challenge, to go out and make something even if it turned out to be a total failure. But the great thing about failing is that you're able to learn from your mistakes after it, and that it also gives you an extra drive and motivation to redeem yourself. And that's exactly what happened to me. I wanted to go in and try again right after, and that's exactly what I did. So for my second attempt, I knew exactly where I spent too much time on the first time, so I made a point not to stress over those things this time around. I spent a lot less time on the moon and the bike light, adding some new effects that I knew wouldn't take too much time, like the particle world effects for the upside down, and a repeating grain overlay for the real world scene. And then that left me with a lot more time to work on the camera movement at the end, so I was able to make sure that actually flowed a lot better this time. And this was the final result for the second attempt. When compared to the first attempt, I think the improvement is definitely there. Figuring out what went wrong in the first attempt definitely helped me plan out the second attempt a lot better and helped me fix those mistakes. What I learned from this challenge was that setting a short timer can be a great motivator to get a project off the ground, and I also learned that trying something and failing at it is a whole lot better than just sitting around and doing nothing. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you should definitely consider subscribing. I'm getting close to 1,000 subs at this point, so that is exciting. But yeah, that's all I got, and I'll see you all in the next video.